Three Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Hanny Time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Casey Gaines and for Mario today. Taylor Sharp, thank you for making us a little part of your day here. Got a few things we're going to get to here in the open. In 15 minutes, Chris Rosvoglu from Boot Crew Media covering the Saints is going to be with us. We're going to talk about the possibilities of Derek Carr becoming a Saint, the former Raider, well, soon-to-be former Raider quarterback. I guess he's a former Raider quarterback now. He's been a former Raider quarterback since about 2 weeks to go in the season. But it's a strange deal for somebody of Carr's age, health, and ability to be available on the quarterback market. So we're going to talk with him about that, plus some takeaways from the Senior Bowl. Bottom of the hour, Dwayne Colucci from the South Point and the Rampart going to talk with us about prop bets on the Super Bowl. Prop bets started, with the Super Bowl in New Orleans between the Bears and the Patriots on whether Refrigerator Perry was going to get into the end zone or not, and has turned into, frankly, maybe a bigger deal than the actual betting on the game, because you can bet on the game. Of course, you can bet on either team. You can bet on the over/under. So that's standard for side and total. You can do that on any game. And now, of course, you can do prop bets on any game. But for a while there, prop bets were really kind of a Super Bowl thing. There are thousands of things that you can bet on. So we'll talk with Colucci about some of his favorites. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour. But I wanted to touch on three things in the open today. The first was that Sean Payton was formally introduced as the Denver Broncos coach yesterday. Got a chance to watch a good bit of this. Most coaches win the press conference. You go in, you're prepared. If your PR people are any good at all, they have prepped you for the first 10 questions that you're going to get. And you've got not only prepared answers for those things, but most of the time you address those things in your open. And so it's not difficult, even if you're not PR savvy, to win the press conference. There's been a few that went out and completely botched it, but most coaches win the press conference. Sean Payton didn't win the press conference yesterday. He routed the press conference yesterday. And if he didn't route the press conference, he certainly routed, which I think he did. He routed the questions after when it came to Russell Wilson. If you want to change a culture, you have to start at the top. And Payton made no bones about the fact that he was going to come in there and he was going to change a lot of things. And not all coaches have the presence to be able to do that. Sean Payton did. But if you thought everything he said in the press conference was coach speak, if everything was kind of canned, which I didn't, because we know him a little bit here and we know there ain't a whole lot of BS to him. He won the whole thing when he got asked about Russell Wilson having his own quarterback coach in the building. I'm not familiar with that. That's foreign to me. That's not going to take place. I'm unfamiliar with it. Our staff will be here. Our players will be here. And that's it. I don't know if he talked to Russell Wilson about that beforehand. I don't think he cared if he talked to Russell Wilson about that beforehand. There is a new sheriff in town. And last year you had a rookie coach, and the veteran quarterback may have run over the rookie coach and the general manager while he was at it. That's over. Your entourage, Turtle, Drama, they can stay out in the parking lot. Actually, they can't stay out in the parking lot because we're taking your parking spots too. You get one parking spot. You don't get an office. You get a locker. You can come to work. You can work for the coach. You can work for the staff. And you can become a better teammate through it. Because when your guys come in and you bring your entourage in, then, well, it's a little bit tougher to say, hey, you know what? We treat everybody fair. We don't treat everybody equal. I get that. There's more to Russell Wilson than the backup offensive tackle, but it comes with a line somewhere. And that line is, no, I'm the coach. You're not bringing in other coaches. I'm the coach. I'll decide who the offensive coordinator is. I'll decide who the wide receivers coach is. I'll decide who the quarterback's coach is. I'll decide who the running back's coach is. I'll decide who the offensive line coach is. But I'm going to decide that. You're not going to decide that. This is what started the rift between Brady and Belichick in New England. Except Brady had a lot more gravitas than even Wilson. And Wilson's got plenty. It's not like Russell Wilson's never accomplished anything in this game. Up until this point a year ago, Russell Wilson was on his way to the Hall of Fame before he ran into Nathaniel Hackett and had his career take this sideways turn. So Wilson's deal was, well, I'll bring in my guys. And Payton says, no, you won't. I'll coach you. Our staff will coach you. Your guys can go somewhere else. That's boss. We're done doing things your way. You tried things your way. You had one of the worst records in the league. You don't get an office, you get a locker. You don't get 5 parking spaces, you get 1. Okay? Ian, Turtle, and Drama, your entourage, they can go down the street. We're going to do things. So it'll be interesting to see if this works. Eventually, Brady and Belichick had enough of each other. And Brady says, well, I'm out. He went to Tampa, he won a Super Bowl. It's Tom Brady. Who's going to win this power struggle? I think the power struggle got knocked down a notch yesterday. The power struggle is over. I'm the coach. I just got an $18 million a year contract. I have a long-term contract. We're going to deal with your $200 million contract by coaching you and getting you back on track and not having you have the Nathaniel Hackett's of the world coach you. And you don't need to bring any outside help in. So I thought Payton was really, really good yesterday. Showed a lot of leadership and showed a lot of, I don't care if you're Russell Wilson. I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no crap off nobody. I'm the boss. So he won the press conference yesterday. Let me tell you who else won earlier this week and won yesterday. Cam Thomas, former LSU guard, scored 47 points last night. 2 nights ago, he scored 44 points. These just happened to be the 2 games that Kyrie Irving didn't play. Thomas just turned 21 years old in October. Back-to-back 40-point games have been done by 2 players that young, him and LeBron James. That's the list. Pretty good, too. Thomas's playing time, he's in his second year, has bounced around a little bit. When there have been players out, he's had significant time. For instance, there was a stretch back in November where he was playing between 22 and 32 minutes a game, and he averaged about 18 points a game shooting on that. Now that Kyrie is gone, and Kevin Durant didn't play last night either, and neither did Ben Simmons, not that Ben Simmons shoots the ball, and neither did Seth Curry. But so they were able to give Cam Thomas, hey, go out there, let's see if you can make some shots. He did. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course he made a bunch of shots. Cam Thomas is a ball hog. He was a ball hog here. But he's a ball hog that can shoot. I got no problem with volume shooters that can shoot. Did he shoot the ball a little bit too much here? Hey, who can say? All I know is he made a bunch of them. You might be surprised. I was to see how well he had shot the ball, not just the last 2 nights, all right? Last night, he shot 52% from the floor and 64% from three-point range, okay? That's not sustainable, except that the night before that, he shot 70% from the floor and 80% from three-point range. Okay, it's a great 2-game stretch. He may continue it for another week, may continue it for, 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, we all remember Linsanity. For a while there, Jeremy Lin couldn't miss a shot. But this feels like a little bit more sustainable than Linsanity. Not 40 points a night. Don't be ridiculous. But for the season, Cam Thomas is shooting 47% from the floor and 44% from 3. I mean, that's borderline all-star numbers Okay. Now, it's in 16 minutes a game, so we need a broader sample size. But you know what he shot last year? 47% from the floor. And, it was 40% from three. But overall, his numbers seem like he can play at an all-star level potentially. Last year he shot very well from the floor. He didn't shoot as well from three. He was 27% from three last year. I think I said 44%. That was what he shot from the floor. For a rookie that was averaging about, maybe 10 minutes a game, those were decent numbers, but you were on a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Guess who's going to get the ball? Well, when he got the ball last year, he shot it well. When he's gotten the ball this year, and he's averaging closer to 18 minutes a game this year, well, that's borderline all-star. I'm very curious to see what he does now that Kyrie Irving is gone. There'll be a lot more minutes. He has certainly opened a lot of eyes in Brooklyn over the last couple of days. They're talking about him. Listen, the New York media, not the softest, they're talking about Brooklyn has won the Kyrie trade because of Cam Thomas, not because of the guys they're getting. So good for him. Let's see if he can keep it up. The last two nights that he's been on the floor, he has played at a superhuman level. So let's see how long that is sustainable. Again, I'm not saying he's going to score 40 points every night, but can Cam Thomas be a 20-point-a-game scorer in NBA? It's a lot of evidence that suggests that he can be. And I'm not talking about in his prime when he's 25, 26 years old, 4 or 5 years from now. I'm talking about right now. There's some evidence that this guy can average in the 18 to 20-point-a-game range. Finally, another LSU athlete had a pretty good night last night. It was actually a night that she had a number of months ago, but America got to see it last night. I didn't get to see this last night. We were doing the show, but I did see the excerpts from it this morning. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a big reality television fan. My wife has roped me into watching in years ago an episode of American Idol here or there, I know what America's Got Talent is. I've seen clips from the show. I know who's on it. I know what it does. I just don't watch it very often. But Flau'jae Johnson, who is a freshman guard for LSU and is an excellent player, was on the show when she was 14 years old and got to come back for the All-Stars last night. And if you've never heard her story, her performance was very good, and we're going to talk about that probably tomorrow when we do first class, second class, no class. But she told her story, and it was a really, really emotional moment for her and for the audience.
When I first came into the show, my goal was just to tell my story.
First off, I'm a rapper. My father, he was a rapper, and he died before I was born. He got murdered, and my mom was pregnant with me, so he couldn't really fulfill his dream. So that's what I'm here to do.
My dad's name was Camouflage.
I never got to touch him, never got to hug him, never got to even talk to him. When I listen to my father's music,
I feel like that's a way that we can have that connection.
And if he would have put that gun down, then they would have been here right now. Everybody, put your guns down.
She was authentic. She was emotional. She was creative in her performance. We don't have time to play the whole thing today. We're going to play a little bit more of it tomorrow. She was fantastic. And I'm not giving anything away because you can go see the clip if you want. The judges were blown away by her performance. By the way, she's a terrific player. She started all 23 games for LSU this year as a freshman and is averaging 13 points a game. And she's obviously a very talented artist. If you watched her give that performance last night, the whole clip is about 6 or 7 minutes long. She was tremendous. And from what I understand, the team was watching together with her last night, and I can imagine how emotional that was. She was very, very, very good. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some Saints football with Chris Ross-Voglu when we return. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny time.
And we did the show out at Big Mike's last night. We always love going out to Big Mike's. You know what we got last night? We got some ball crawfish every day at 11 o'clock. Ball crawfish coming out hot at Big Mike's. And on Monday, it's all you can eat ball shrimp. Live music Thursdays through Saturdays, just about every weekend at Big Mike's. This Thursday, Chris Allen will be there. Swamp Pop class will also be taking place on Friday. Kyle Wilson, and on Saturday, DJ Alex Harbert. Happy hour drink prices 3 to 7 Monday through Saturday, and all day on Sunday, which means that you're going to get happy hour drink prices starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. LSU women's basketball will be on. They're going to play South Carolina, the Battle of the Unbeatens at 1 o'clock, and, of course, the Super Bowl later on that day. So head on over to Big Mike's. Part of this is the fabric of Denham Springs. The Denham Springs Hall of Fame is a part of the restaurant. Available for private parties as well. Big Mike's on Aspen and Denham Springs, we're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal.
City Chiefs face the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57. Tune in Sunday, February 12th, starting at 1 p.m. with Westwood One Super Bowl preview, leading you up to kickoff at 5:30 p.m. right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Annegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com. Joining us now, Boot Crew Media, Chris Rosvoglu. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well.
Good to have you back on the program. I want to start with Derek Carr because next week we are, unless somebody comes in with a trade offer, which sort of seems unlikely because Carr can veto it, that Derek Carr is going to be a free agent next week, 3 days after the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of buzz around what might happen with him, and certainly there's a lot of teams looking for a quarterback. What chances do you give that the Saints are interested here and that there's mutual interest by Carr?
Yeah, I think from the Saints' perspective, there's definitely interest there. He would give them stability. He'd give them leadership. He'd give them a quarterback that I think in terms of schematic fit would actually go well with Pete Carmichael. You know, on the other side, it's already been reported that New Orleans is a place that he wouldn't say no to, which is great. My question would be, though, when does he fall in terms of all the dominoes? If a guy like Aaron Rodgers is the first domino to go, and let's say he doesn't go to a team like the Jets and he goes to the Raiders, then all of a sudden are the Jets considered maybe a more attractive option for Derek Carr? So I think that's something to consider, but I definitely think right now when we look at realistic options and best options for the Saints in 2023, I think Derek Carr would have to be at the top of the list right now, and I do think there is a legitimate chance that these two parties kind of come together and make something happen, but they'd have to be smart with the contract. And, it also comes down to, Derek Carr, does he think this is the best situation for him? And I think with the lack of quarterback talent in the NFC South, it might be.
The contract is the real kicker here. And when you look at contracts in the NFL, quarterback contracts, there's the very, very top of the food chain. There's Aaron Rodgers at $50 million a year. There's Pat Mahomes at $45 million a year. There's Russell Wilson somewhere in between those two, and Josh Allen. Then you have the guys that the outstanding quarterbacks that are still on rookie deals like Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Carr sort of fits into that middle class, and if you look at his stats and his salary, it lines up with two guys that I think frustrate their fan bases, but even though they put up good numbers. One of them's Dak Prescott, and one of them's Kirk Cousins. Over the last 3 years, their yardage numbers are similar, their touchdowns and interceptions are similar, and their salaries are similar. But there's this thought process that Prescott and Cousins are good. Carr is good, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. But he's better than, at least half of the quarterbacks in the league. So do you want to pay Derek Carr $40 million a year, which is what he was making? And can the Saints even afford that if they want to?
Well, in terms of afford, I think the Saints have that opportunity and the flexibility this offseason. If they want to kind of push the can yet again down the road with, the cap increasing year by year, they can. They'll find a way. But I do think if Derek Carr does become a free agent, I think that's the likelihood right now, I kind of think in terms of what the base salary be, what he'd make total for the year, I think it'd probably be a little bit less than what he would be set to make under his current contract. But to your point, you're still going to pay a premium, right? If I say it's going to be less, it's not going to be much less. It'll probably still be $35 million, maybe even more than that. But I think for New Orleans, it comes down to whether or not they really think they can compete this year. And if the answer is yes, and you can work out a deal where it's a 2-3 year deal, I think way you can defend it. Because the way I look at Derek Carr is kind of to your point. There's going to be games where he's going to play fantastic, and we're probably going to talk ourselves into, they can get to certain goals with Derek Carr. And there'll be other games where you get a little frustrated and you say, well, what's kind of the ceiling with a guy like this? But I think for the Saints right now, this division is just so up for grabs. There's no proven quarterback. I mean, the most proven quarterback would be Jameis Winston, and I kind of think he will part ways with the Saints in, let's say, the coming weeks, maybe coming months. So I think Derek Carr immediately on the Saints team puts them at the top, and for them, if that's worth it, if that's worth the price of $40 million, they can definitely make it happen.
Put your Mickey Loomis hat on here for a second. If your choices are Derek Carr on, let's say, a 4-year deal at it's somewhere close to $40 million a year, or Andy Dalton on a 1-year, say, $12 million a year deal, and you start this all up over again next year, what do you pick?
I think a lot of it comes down to I'd say the desperate nature of this coaching staff. And because of that, if I am, Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen, when you get together here, I think you say, okay, if we have to win this year because everyone's job's on the line, then we probably have to go for Derek Carr. Now, if I'm Mickey Loomis and I'm not completely sold on this coaching staff, then I probably lean the other way. And I probably say, okay, Andy Dalton, maybe we look at a quarterback in this class. There were a couple, whether it's at the Senior Bowl that they may have liked or even thinking about moving up, there'll be options there. And that'll probably be the smarter play. But I do think there is that kind of do-or-die time where it's not just about the coaching staff. There's a lot of veterans right now, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, where you start to think it's not now when in terms of maximizing that window and winning a championship for those guys. So I do think it's a tough position, but I think if they're all on, hey, our jobs are on the line, we got to make something happen, you kind of have to go with Derek Carr because you've seen what the alternative is with Andy Dalton.
You bring up a fascinating scenario, Chris, because this is my opinion. I'll see what you think. Dennis Allen's job is on the line next year. I don't think there's much question about that. But Mickey Loomis's isn't. At least I don't think it is. If the Saints were to go 5-12 next year, Allen's getting fired. But I don't know that Loomis is. So when you got a GM whose job is not on the line, but the coach's job is, who wins?
You know, I would imagine in this scenario, with the way that, Mickey Loomis has been in New Orleans for such a long time and he's accomplished a lot, I'd have to imagine Mickey would win. But I think Mickey, right now, with the way it's going on, obviously him and DA have a good relationship. They feel like this season was a little bit of some bad breaks, some injuries, and then some miscues, obviously, here and there, and those can't be understated. But I think for him, they want to make it work with this staff badly. I don't think they really want to be in that position where you're looking for a new staff again. And if they do have to get rid of DA, trust me, there'd be so many changes they'd have to make because you're basically clearing almost the entire house. So, if it comes down to that type of power struggle, I have to imagine that Mickey wins. But I do think that they kind of both have their hands in this and they're trying to figure it out together. And for that reason, I do think that's why they're probably going to be in the market for a guy like Derek Carr and say, okay, win the South. Maybe you can steal a playoff game. Who knows? But you got to get in the big dance, obviously, to have a shot at it, and I think that's the way they're looking at it right now.
Chris Rosvoglu is our guest from Boot Crew Media covering the Saints. What did you take out of Senior Bowl week? The Saints are notoriously tight-lipped, although Jeff Ireland did talk to the media last week, which is unusual. But what did you take from Senior Bowl week out of Saints camp?
Yeah, for the Senior Bowl, for starters, what I found fascinating and not really surprising at all is the hype that we've kind of seen around Tyjae Spears. And I think the Saints have an interesting decision to make on not just a running back like him, but running backs of his nature, where do they want to go with the complementary back to Alvin Kamara and kind of get maybe a more physical back who can really also have that home run speed? Or do they kind of like the explosive nature of a guy like Tyjae Spears and kind of think not just for 2023, but 2024, 2025, and maybe find a long-term Alvin Kamara replacement? And if so, you won't have to look very far because the Tulane product really shined at the Senior Bowl, and he'll keep getting better. But, I'm also looking at some quarterbacks. I mean, Jake Haener from Fresno State is a player who people raved about leadership, raved about his accuracy. And, if the Saints decide to go the Andy Dalton with drafting a quarterback route, maybe that's someone they look at, and that'll be interesting to see. But what I find really kind of interesting on the whole Senior Bowl front for the Saints is two guys who had a really, really important role in all this, Ron Curry and then also Dequan Doyle. These are guys who are just, between those two, Doyle and Curry, they played a big role at the Senior Bowl in evaluating talent, and they're also linked to the Broncos right now. So if the Saints were to lose both of them, or even one of them, I wonder how that kind of changes their scouting approach.
What do you like in the Super Bowl?
A couple of days ago, I was thinking, I love the way Mahomes has been playing, and I think the Chiefs just had it. But I keep going back to this Eagles team, and they're just so well-rounded. Their pass rush is just absolutely sensational. What they've done is historic stuff this year. Offensively, they just have the weapons to overwhelm you. They have the ground game. I think I'm leaning Eagles. I've been flipping back and forth, but I just go down to them having the better overall roster. I really love what their defense has been able to do. And Jalen Hurts in that run game, when they get it going, it's tough to stop. And I think that's something that Cincinnati failed to do against Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, but I feel like Philly will have a chance to run on the Chiefs.
Chris, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you when we're getting ready for the Combine. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Chris Rosvoglu from Boot Crew Media. We'll take a break. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas. We're talking prop bets when we come back. It's Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Infinity of Baton Rouge with the Sell Your Car program. Infinity of Baton Rouge wants to buy your vehicles. So it's easy to get an offer from Infinity, whether you're looking to sell it to them, trade it in on another vehicle, or you're just looking to find out what the value is. It takes less than 15 minutes to get a quote, and there's no pressure to buy. But if you do want, the certified pre-owned vehicle at Infinity of Baton Rouge has gone through an extensive 167-point inspection to get it back up to code. Every certified pre-owned vehicle has gone through that, and the mileage requirements and the age makes it possible for you to get a 6-year unlimited mile warranty with 1 full year of prepaid maintenance. Also, roadside assistance available in the certified pre-owned program, and a courtesy car when you do bring your vehicle in for maintenance. So these things with Infinity of Baton Rouge is why me and my family have gone back time and time again to buy our vehicles there. All at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR. We'll continue counting you down to Super Bowl 57. Graf joins us as the Pels are back on the floor against the Hawks. And Lee joins us to talk beer. Hopefully you will as well. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Super Bowl this week. We will have it here for you on the radio, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We go out now to Las Vegas, the South Point and the Rampart, and our friend Dwayne Colucci. Colucci, how you doing?
Doing good. Busy week, Charlie. Busy week.
I would imagine. I want to talk prop bets. Well, let me ask you one question about the regular line first. This is a line that really hasn't, well, you tell me, what I've seen is it has not moved very much at all off of where it opened. So it would appear that, at least for the moment, we're still 5 days to kick off, that there has not been an overwhelming amount of difference in the money coming in on either side.
Well, the initial reaction, Charlie, was where we took the money, naturally. We opened Kansas City -1, and now the Eagles are -2. So what you have is an influx of Eagle money laying the points now, and you have all the Kansas City backers betting the money line. We booked a nice sizable bet at the Rampart when we put the line first up. I believe it was last Monday when I took a six-figure bet on the Chiefs money line. So you're pretty correct and accurate now, because it's all leveled out and evened out. You're seeing some shops got 1.5, some shops like my place and the South Point have -2, and we're attracting more sizable bets, definitely, Charlie, because we have a -105 big at the Rampart and South Point. So that's just huge. I mean, when you're marketing and looking to save a few dollars and doing this from a professional angle or even a novice angle, you have to understand laying a 105 big is such an advantage to the player as opposed to laying 110. And some places will bang you with that 120 big and even money, on the straight point spread. So definitely shop around. But if you're in Las Vegas, you got to come to the Rampart or South Point. And on the money line, Charlie, we only got a 10-cent straddle. So that's great, too. I mean, we're just giving all the deals we possibly can over the counter at the Rampart and South Point. So, great two-way action. We're going to attract some of the more sizable bets just because of that big that you don't have to lay.
American Gaming Association is estimating there'll be $16 billion wagered on the Super Bowl in one form or another. So much on the prop bets now, Colucci. So you tell me, I know you spent a lot of time, you and the staff spent a lot of time working on putting these things out, pages and pages. I don't know. You can tell me where you ended up on number of pages, number of bets, but what are the most popular prop bets that you are seeing here early in the week?
Well, yeah, Charlie, we definitely we have 19 pages at the Rampart and South Point. We're putting up a plethora of proposition bets. The alternate point spreads are always very popular. As soon as we put those out, we put them out a couple of days before we put out the base propositions. They become very, very popular. And with the general public, when you're talking about ticket right, you're going to have the ticket count be very high on player to score the first touchdown, because everybody has a different opinion. And when you see sizable odds, even with Travis Kelce, we opened him at 7-1. To score the first touchdown, people are enamored with that. They don't want to just win, a base 55 or $5.50 wager or $5.25 at the Rampart and South Point to win $5. They want to put down $5 and win possible, 50s, 100s, and guys like Valdez-Scantling, all sorts of action guys can bring you that money if you get lucky. So we're definitely going to have a high ticket count on the player to score the first touchdown. Like I said, alternate point spread props. Will there be a safety has become very popular, too, because we had, a few safeties in the past years that the public absorbs that. And, at another 7-1, that's a possibility. So we have so many different props, Charlie. It's going to be a fabulous time at the Rampart and South Point. We're going to have cross-sport props the day of the game. We have so many different options, and we want the public to enjoy themselves. That's what it's all about. It's definitely the most entertaining game of, the year, and the most important from a bookmaker standpoint.
I've been meaning to ask you this. As a bookmaker, how do you figure a cross-sport prop? I mean, how do you figure what the percentage ought to be on, and I'm just making this up off the top of my head, LeBron James's points versus Chiefs first downs, or, something along those lines? How do you figure something that you're only going to put up that kind of line once a year on the Super Bowl? How do you figure the percentages there?
Well, definitely. I've seen a couple of other shops have some real interesting cross sport props. And just for example, like you said, if we're doing Golden Knights shots versus one of the team's points, over under, what you do is you're going to formulate, because the Golden Knights are playing on that Sunday, you're going to formulate what they average against the Anaheim Ducks, how many shots and how the Ducks' health is, how the Knights' health is, and then you try and formulate a spread to where you feel comfortable and average out what the Chiefs or the Eagles you feel as a bookmaker could possibly put up and what they do in these situations. So, we got all sorts of people grinding numbers. Chris Andrews has a fabulous team over at the South Point. I can't credit them enough. They do a phenomenal job. And, we try to put as much into it as we can, and we want it to be entertaining as well and close, so it's competitive. So definitely we start to crunch the numbers, Charlie. We look at trends. We look at, health, obviously, of the teams and the players, and we go from there.
My mother told me that I should pay more attention to my math, and I said, Mom, I want to be a sportscaster when I grow up. What do I need to pay attention to math for? See, she knew what she was talking about. I need to pay more attention to the math, like Jimmy I did when he was a student. All right, take your bookmaker hat off for a second and put your player hat on. What props do you like? Dwayne Colucci, the player, which ones do you like?
Oh, I'm a sucker. I love the player to score the first touchdown. So I'll bet like 5 or 6 guys, Charlie. I'll be honest with you. A.J. Brown, if I could get a nice price on him. Like I said, Valdez-Scantling. May even take a shot with Mahomes because, with the high ankle sprain that people are focusing and they're thinking that possibly he's not going to run or do something like that. But if you could get in close, there's always a possibility. So I'm a big sucker for player to score the first touchdown. Also for each team, we have players listed for the first touchdown for that particular team. And, I definitely will handicap that, throw a few bucks on the alternate point spreads. I'm feeling, very possibly there could be a blowout in this game from a personal standpoint. So I'm going to lay some big points with the side I like and, get a little juice on the side. So it's definitely going to be fun. And from a handicapper's point of view, I definitely dabble in a lot of propositions, Charlie, and mainly those are the ones.
Yeah, I talk myself. My favorite every year is more than 2 players to throw a pass. I've cashed out one a number of times, not every year, of course, but I've cashed out one a few times. You got a lot of different ways you can win that one. Yes. But the one I've talked myself into this year is number of sacks by the Chiefs, given how good Philadelphia's offensive line is. And they have not a lot of sack to the front of the San Francisco 49ers, the New York Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys. The sacks that have come against the Eagles have come on blitzes. So I've kind of talked myself into this. You're getting a real nice price on no sacks for the Chiefs against that line. And if Philadelphia gets the lead and starts really running the football, I like my chances. But you can bet on the first Chiefs sack coming in any quarter, overtime, or to not get a sack at all, and you're getting plus money everywhere. So I've kind of talked myself into that one. You got any faith in that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we set the total quarterback sacks in the game at a total of 5.5, Charlie. So you see how effective the Eagles have been in protecting the quarterback. Jalen Hurts has just been fabulous in the pocket and elusive as well. And as his health, gains momentum, he's definitely going to be even more difficult to stop, in my opinion. So that's definitely a possibility. The protection is eminent. You have to protect your quarterback on both sides of the ball. I believe that the Chiefs feel a lot of pressure also protecting Mahomes. They don't want to see Chad Hanny have to come into that game and, see the ankle sprain get re-injured. So Mahomes also will be elusive definitely in the first half. We'll see how things, transpire as he sits during the halftime entertainment, and then things tighten up in the second half. That's what we discussed last week. It seemed like that happened against Cincinnati. So definitely sacks are going to be very important in this game. And like you said, the Eagles are the only problem is that they bring a massive pass rush, and they were able to get to Purdy. They knocked him out of the game. We'll see how well the Chiefs could protect Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I ain't betting against the Eagles getting sacks. I'm betting against the Chiefs getting sacks.
Yeah,
I ain't going the other way. All right, who do you think's going to win the game?
I tell you the truth, Charlie, I'm liking the Eagles. The way they dominated San Francisco, they really look like they're a class team right now. That defense is monstrous. On the other hand, Patrick Mahomes, he's got to have his wide receivers gain some help. We know Tony, Juju, they're on the shelf. We don't know how healthy they're going to be at game time, and then it just becomes more pressure-filled for some of the other wide receivers, especially Kelsey to carry the load. And then Valdez-Scantling has to make some big plays downfield, which he was able to do against Cincinnati, which was very impressive that he finally got to where he should be with, on the same page as Mahomes. But I think the Eagles are going to bring a ferocious pass rush. It's going to be difficult. They have to avoid, though, getting complacent in their zone defense because that's where Kelsey really excels. And the Eagles love to play that zone, Charlie. So they got to switch it up. This is not an easy game, and you have Andy Reid on the other side of the field, who is definitely one of the premier and top coaches in NFL history. So, Philly has their work cut out for them, but right now I would lay the points, and like I said, I'll probably lay even more on the point spread propositions.
All right, we got 6 games, I think, on the ice tonight. You got some hockey picks?
Yeah, definitely, Charlie. You know us. We took a little chance last Tuesday. We took those huge dogs and lost both games in overtime, Charlie. We had massive action. We lost 5-4, I believe, with Montreal, and I can't remember. I think it was the Kings that were winning.
It was.
They blew a huge lead.
Yeah.
They were winning 4-1, Charlie. That was so disappointing. I mean, the in-game was huge on the opponent there, and the Kings couldn't seal the deal. So we took some big dogs. We took our lumps. Right before the All-Star break. Normally, a team that plays a game already and has a game in their hip pocket, Charlie, is definitely at an advantage. Even if it's a back-to-back, then a team coming straight off the break. So Tampa Bay falls into that tonight. We could lay the puck line there. I think that's definitely a solid pick. I'm always leery about betting against Seattle, but the Islanders now, definitely with the acquisition of Bo Horvat, they're going to feel a chip on their shoulder. This guy brings tremendous leadership. So we could go with the Islanders, 115 at the Rampart and South Point. I'm seeing some smaller lines out there where you could lay even less with the Islanders. They're another team that is playing another game. These teams come out very flat out of the All-Star break. You have to remember that. Vegas Golden Knights tonight is Dad's Night, where all the dads of the Vegas Golden Knight players travel to Nashville. And Vegas has been very successful in this situation. I think that's also a very nice play tonight. We'll take a shot. Vegas is much better on the road. So keep that in mind, Charlie. They play a much better game on the road. You may see Aiden Hill in there because Logan Thompson was at the All-Star festivities, but that's not much of a downgrade. It's not been the Vegas Golden Knights goaltending. It's been just their poorly rounded offense, and definitely their defense hasn't been stepping up. This is the second half. They have to stabilize this team and definitely make a playoff run. So I like Vegas as well.
All right, the Golden Knights, the Islanders, and the Lightning on the puck line against the Sharks tonight. That's Colucci's 3-pack for you. Dwayne, enjoy the game. I know it's going to be a busy, busy week for you. We always enjoy speaking with you. We'll talk to you on Thursday night for Jimmy's show, and back here next Tuesday we'll recap Super Bowl 57. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Thank you, Charlie. Definitely we will be having action Thursday with Jimmy Ott, and we will speak about the game next Tuesday. A lot of fun.
Yeah, he's playing soccer tonight, so we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, Colucci. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie.
We'll take a break, come back and wrap things up here. Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hanny Time, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Dozy Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A couple of questions, the Bayou Ford chat. Do I like that South Carolina and LSU are playing the game on the same day as the Super Bowl? Yeah, I do, because the game's at 1 o'clock, not because if the game was at 5 o'clock, then not so much. I'll tell you a quick story. There was the year the Saints were in the Super Bowl, the the LSU women's basketball team was playing a game, and because it was on TV and it had been scheduled months before that, they had to keep it on at the same time that the Super Bowl. And I think it started an hour before the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl started roughly at halftime of the LSU women's game. And because we're the flagship, we had to staff it. Somebody had to go. And nobody wanted to go because everybody wanted to go. Everybody wanted to watch the Super Bowl. And as it turned out, our former GM kind of fell on the sword so that everybody could watch the Super Bowl or go to it. So that was bad planning. But a 1 o'clock game on Super Bowl Sunday, yeah, I love it. I think we always are looking for something. I do pregame shows for a living, have for a long time, but the Super Bowl gets pregamed out for me. I mean, it's literally a 2-week pregame. There's only so much I can take. So by 1, 2 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm beyond ready for them to kick the ball, and I've heard all of the feature stories and all of the previews and all the stuff that I want to hear. So by that time, I'm ready for them to kick the football. I'd rather watch a game, and if it's a college basketball game, that's fine. This is a college basketball game that I actually have a large rooting interest in. So, yeah, the schedule didn't work out well the year the Saints were in the Super Bowl. I think it works out really well here. Ask Hanny, how would you approach the Saints quarterback situation with you, the GM? You definitely got to look at Derek Carr. I wouldn't throw $200 million in a 5-year, $40 million a year contract at Derek Carr. But if the money makes sense, he upgrades you there. If the money doesn't make sense, it's probably Andy Dalton on a 1-year deal and maybe draft somebody in the second round and try this again a year from now. Not a lot of easy answers, salary cap-wise, draft pick-wise, where the Saints are concerned at quarterback. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Casey and Taylor, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.